Well, today we're chatting to suicide survivor and Are You OK ambassador Lauren Darlington. She's here today to share her story and how she came through it and what we can actually do to change the way we support mental illness. Lauren, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
It is lovely to have you here. We really want to hear about your story. So how did sort of mental illness come about for you?
Yeah, sure. So for me, mental illness was something I knew about a lot growing up. It was in my family, and I was kind of told from a young age that it was just what to expect. It was in my family, it's hereditary, so it's just going to happen. So from a young age, I kind of had it in my mind that that was going to be my future. So for me, I knew mental illness quite intimately well. From the age of about 14, I started self-harming and went through stages of that kind of on and off. And then throughout my family, my mum's mum, and like her mum had it as well. And then I also had a cousin who really battled her own issues with self-harm and things as well. So I knew mental illness really well. And had my own struggles throughout teenage life as well, in and out of hospitals, and as you said, suicide survivor, so had my own attempts with suicide as well. So I know both sides of it.
Yeah, did anyone sort of know that you were going through this from such an early age?
Yeah, definitely. So my family were the first to know, and then friends and things started to know because I've always been really open.
Did you get any support from when you were young?
Yeah, from when I started self-harming, there was a lot of support. Previous to that, there was support for different things, but it was never kind of on anyone's radar as something that was really urgent until the self-harm started. I think that's kind of the biggest cry for help, is when there's actually something physically happening, that support really
So what were the early signs that people missed?
I think for me, it was definitely changes in how I was being. Like, I'm a really bubbly and talkative person, and I would go very isolated. Wasn't very social. Would really retreat a lot. So they were probably the start, the signs that didn't get, picked up.
Were there any events in your life that sort of triggered mental illness in the first place, or prolonged it, or anything like that we should kind of watch out for, or anything? Or?
Yeah, I think big life changes. So growing up, I say the norm because I guess it is normal these days. My parents separated, and then growing up with that, changes in schools, changes in where I lived. And then growing up, there was different traumas and things as well. So I think any big life change is definitely going to either prolong it or potentially bring it on as well.
So you're ambassador of Are You OK? What does that look like for you?
So I'm actually really excited because this is the first year that I'm a part of the organisation as an ambassador, and I'm excited because it's their 10th year, and as a part of that, they've themed Are You OK Day as Every Day is Are You OK Day, and I love that. Yeah, which is great. Which is great because I'm so passionate about having conversations and the actual impact that having a conversation and simply asking Are You OK can have.
So it's as simple as that, just asking people, are you OK?
Yeah, so Are You OK have actually created like 4 steps, and it's ask, and then listen, encourage action, and follow up. And the reason that I love that is because I think sometimes we don't ask the question because we're worried that if the answer's no, what do we say?
Yeah. What do we do?
What do we do? Because then I'm kind of left going, oh, okay, like how do I respond to that?
Because there still is a bit of a stigma around mental health and those sorts of things, isn't there?
Yeah, definitely, which again is why I am so passionate about being so open about things, because I don't want there to be a stigma. When you're going through it, feeling like you're alone makes it even more traumatic, and even more that there must be something wrong with me because I'm so alone in this. So I think by removing that stigma and making it that every day is Are You OK Day, and it's normal. It's totally normal to ask that. It makes it normal.
I love that, because we often say to you, oh, hi, how are you?
Yeah.
Which is somewhat similar, but Are You OK sort of is a bit more directed and specific, isn't it?
Has a slightly different meaning, doesn't it? It means you really want to know.
Yeah.
If we've got a friend that we're concerned about, what's the best thing to do?
So for me, and I'll share my experience because I feel like that helps. The best thing, like my best friend was one of the biggest kind of changing points for me. the best thing that she did was, I don't actually understand what you're going through, but I'm here for you. Like, you're not alone in this. And I think if you're worried about someone, actually ask them. Don't be afraid and don't kind of beat around the bush. Like, actually say to them, I'm really worried about you. Are you okay? And then if not, you know, when it comes to action, you don't have to have the answers, but remind them that they're not alone through it. Because I think that's the biggest thing. Like, no one wants to feel like they're alone.
Yeah.
And that can be really tricky too, because like you said, you tend to isolate and pull back and don't want to have to deal with people, and yet your friend is going, are you okay? I can see that you're not. So it is actually a really hard dance to do, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. There was so many times where my best friend would actually just come and, like, she'd come over and just sit with me. We would not have to talk, not have to do anything. And she would just sit with me and we'd watch a movie or talk about something completely different. But it was knowing that I actually wasn't alone that was really, really comforting.
Wow. Can I ask what some of the biggest mistakes that people made when they were supporting you? Was there anything that people that you're just like, oh, that just makes me feel worse? Like,
I've actually never been asked that, and I really love that. I think anything that made me feel like there was something wrong, or actually, there was a couple of things that I kind of almost felt like I was being punished or made wrong for self-harming, because it wasn't really understood. I mean, at the time when I was going through it, I was a teenage girl, so I was self-harming, and, you know, of course there was a whole aspect of like bullying because of the self-harming as well. So I think the part that really, the kind of, I guess, mistakes in a way were the making it feel wrong.
That's really good to know, because it can be so intimidating. Like, when you know someone's struggling and you're not sure what to do, you don't want to do the wrong thing.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that's why people, because I've done it myself.
You tend to do nothing.
You tend to pull back a bit,
afraid
do
of doing the
nothing.
wrong thing, which is not helpful either.
Yeah, but I think even with the mistakes, like at the time they were so incredibly hard. But even the mistakes, like, I look back now and I was like, wow, like, there's a lot that even those mistakes got me. You know, can look back now and go, wow, like, I've really got so much strength from those mistakes as well. So I think people need to know that don't ever feel like there's something that you can do wrong.
yeah.
Just reaching out and connecting.
Just reaching
you
out
can
means so
win.
much.
Yeah. So what does life look like now that you've sort of come through on the other side? Like, is life still as challenging as it used to be? I was going to say, tell me how you sort of experience life now.
Yeah. Well, I'm human. So I know
we
that
all
it's
are.
challenging. I know. I kind of woke up one day and went, I'm still human. So there's still hard times.
Yeah.
There's still hard times. And I think when you're going through it, you're like, when I come out of this, like, sometimes you can have this fantasy of, oh, I'm just going to be happy all the time and life will be great. It's not reality. Like, we're humans. It's hard. But I am a completely different person, and I look back on those times and I'm so grateful for them, because I'm like, there is so much that I got from them. And now life for me is, I speak so openly about everything because I know it helps people by being honest. So yeah, there's still challenge and there's still hard times, but I know what really gets me through it now. And in giving the hard times a voice and being able to speak about them and expressing them, that's really what keeps getting me through. You know, when I'm going through something hard now, I speak about it. Like, I know that it's okay to actually put my hand up and go, you know what, I don't feel okay today. And that's totally fine.
Do you think you've been able to recognise it more in other people that are struggling, that have tried to keep it quiet?
Yeah, definitely. I noticed it, as I said, like, I had with my cousin who was really struggling with it. She ended up ending her life, but I saw the sign. Like, I knew exactly what she was going through. And unfortunately that wasn't, that wasn't enough in her own journey. But I was able to recognise that these are the signs, and this is, this is what to look out for. So I think any changes in behaviour, like if any retreating or anything that's out of the ordinary for that person.
What would you recommend if you are struggling and no one's asking you if you're okay?
The best thing these days is there's actually so much support out there, even if someone's not asking. You know, there's phone lines like Lifeline and things like that, where you don't even need to, like, you can be anonymous. There's so many resources online. I think social media is great because there's so many social media accounts that you can turn to for advice and things as well. Not advice, but to have a look at like someone else opening up conversations as well. So I think there's a lot available out there. And I think knowing that it's actually okay to put your hand up and ask for help, like, it takes so much strength. you know, people think it's a weakness, but it takes so much strength to go, I'm not okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we see it as a weakness, but it's a strength.
Yeah.
It's a strength. Yeah.
Important thing to remember.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Lauren, like your story's amazing. We really appreciate you sharing it because I know in Australia and New Zealand, nearly 50% of people are sort of going through a mental illness at any time, at one point in their life. And that's a huge number
That's
that we're
crazy.
talking about.
Yeah.
So thank you for taking the time to come in and share your story. Really appreciate it.
No, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh.
It's been great.
Thank you, ladies. Always a pleasure with you. And don't forget, you can jump onto our social media, onto our Facebook. We love to hear your stories, what you have to say. We're here to support you as well. Don't forget that. We're all in this village together. We will see you next week. Have a great week. Bye.